Recording in progress. Okay, welcome everyone to our reading of the Upadeshamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami, and we're reading text 3. What's favorable? The text 2 was things to avoid, and now we're going to read what is favorable for devotional service. Let's offer some prayers to Srila Prabhupada before we begin. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Kṛṣṇa Bhastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivasesha Sunyavadi Pashtatara Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. All right, so I saw some hands up there to read.
Murli Prabhu, before
Yes, please.
Before we start, I'm a bit confused. These old ladies are saying this page, that page. Can you please
Text
help
3,
me?
beginning of text 3.
Text 3. Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Text 3. Okay, so Lavanga Latika, I can see your hand there.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm having some issues with my lighting here at the moment. It's like a strobe effect at the moment. Turn it off. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's. Your voice is very low again.
Let me just increase the volume. Okay, better?
A little bit better. A little bit better.
I don't know what it is.
That's the best we can do. Go ahead.
Okay. Utsahan nischaya daryat tad karma pravartanat sangatya gat sato vrite sabir bhaktir prasidati. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. 1. Being enthusiastic. 2. Endeavoring with confidence. 3. Being patient. 4. Acting according to the regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. 5. Abandoning the association of non-devotees. And 6. Following in the footsteps of previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11 has defined devotional service as follows. Aniva sita sunyam jnana karmadi anarvitam anukulyena krishnano silanam bhaktirutama. Uttama bhakti, or unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. The devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of fruitive karma, impersonal jnana, and all other selfish desires. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to an activity. Cultivation of spirituality does not mean sitting down idly for meditation, as some pseudo-yogis teach. Such idle meditation may be good for those who have no information of devotional service, and for this reason it is sometimes recommended as a way to check this. As a way to check distracting materialistic activities. Meditation means stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for the time being, but devotional service not only puts an end to all nonsensical mundane activities, but also engages one in meaningful devotional activities. Sri Prahlad Maharaj recommends Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedanam. The 9 processes of devotional service are as follows. Hearing the name and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chanting his glories, remembering the Lord, serving the Lord's feet, worshipping the deity, offering obeisances unto the Lord, acting as the Lord's servant, making friends with the Lord, surrendering oneself fully to the Lord. Shravanam or hearing is the first step in acquiring transcendental knowledge. One should not give oral reception to unauthorized persons, but should approach the proper person as recommended in Bhagavad Gita 434. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadechyanti te janam jnaninas tadvadarshina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. It is further recommended in the Mundaka Upanishad, Tadvinar Yanartam Sagurum Abhabigajet. To understand that transcendental science, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Thus, the method of submissively receiving transcendental confidential knowledge is not merely based on mental speculation. In this regard, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught Rupa Goswami, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bija. In the course of traversing the universal creation of Lord Brahma, some fortunate soul may receive the seed of Bhakti Lata, the creeper of devotional service. This is all by the grace of Guru and Krishna. C.C. Madhya 19151. The material world is a place of confinement for the living entities who are by nature and andamaya pleasure-seeking. They actually want to be free from the confinement of this world of conditional happiness. But not knowing the process of liberation, they are bound to transmigrate from one species of life to another and from one planet to another. In this way, the living entities are wandering throughout the material universe. When by good fortune one comes in contact with a pure devotee and hears from him patiently, one begins to follow the path of devotional service. Such an opportunity is offered to a person who is sincere. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is giving such a chance to humanity at large. If by fortune one takes advantage of this opportunity to engage in devotional service, the path of liberation immediately opens.
Okay, perhaps we stop there. We'll pause there. This purport is relatively a small purport compared to the previous purport, but still, it's very powerful purport. Any particular comments or questions or reflections? Say. It's quite simple in one sense. Here it is. If you want to attain success in pure devotional service, Rupa Goswami gives these just 6 items to follow. And he said that he will give us blessings that will assure us complete success. Yeah. And he's speaking, as interesting, he's speaking on the first one. Well, he's speaking on then he gives the 9 principles of pure devotional service. So we have these 6 here, and then he further elaborates by quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam, the 9 angas of pure devotion. Yeah. And I think it's emphasizing that it's activity. As Prabhupada was saying, it's not just sitting down idly for meditation. Yeah.
I was thinking how it's explained like bhakti, what you have to do, Shravanam Kirtanam, and then doing that, he goes on to how you have to surrender to a spiritual master, listen from him,
Yeah, Gurupad Ashraya. That's part of the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we can go on. Yes, you can go on. So I have Raj Kishore. You have your hand up there. You can read.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
one should accept.
One should accept this opportunity to return home, back to Godhead, very enthusiastically. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful. Even in the material world, one has to be very enthusiastic in his particular field of activity in order to become successful. A student, businessman, artist, or anyone else who wants success in his line must be enthusiastic. Similarly, one has to be very enthusiastic in devotional service. Enthusiasm means action, but action for whom? The answer is that one should always act for Krishna. Krishnartha Kila Chetasa. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In all phases of life, one has to perform devotional service activities under the direction of spiritual master in order to attain perfection in Bhakti Yoga. It is not that one has to confine or narrow one's activities. Krishna is all-pervading. Therefore, nothing is independent of Krishna, as Krishna himself states in Bhagavad Gita 9:4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyaktamurtina matsthani sarva bhutani na chaham teshva avasthita. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, one has to make everything favorable for Krishna's service. For example, at present, we are using a dictaphone. The materialist who invented this machine intended it for businessmen or writers of mundane subject matters. He certainly never thought of using the dictaphone in God's service, but we are using this dictaphone to write Krishna conscious literature. Of course, the manufacturer of the dictaphone is wholly within the energy of Krishna. All the parts of the instrument, including the electronic functions, are made from different combination and interaction of the 5 basic types of material energy, namely Bhumi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, and Akash. The inventor used his brain to make this complicated machine, and his brain, as well as the ingredients, were supplied by Krishna. According to the statement of Krishna, Matsthani Sarva Bhutani. Everything is dependent on my energy. Thus, the devotee can understand that since nothing is independent of Krishna's energy, everything should be dovetailed in his service. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsāha or enthusiasm. The devotee finds the correct means by which everything can be utilized in the service of the Lord. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. The execution of devotional service is not a matter of ideal meditation, but practical action in the foreground of spiritual life.
Okay, perhaps we'll pause there because that just speaks. Prabhupada has been speaking about utsāha. Then next he's going to speak about patience, dhāryat. Yeah. So, anyone noticed a particular definition of utsāha that Prabhupada gives at the end? See if we can see it, and it's often mentioned in classes. Because sometimes when we hear the word enthusiasm, we may picture something physical. Like if someone's an enthusiastic swimmer, he swims very fast and vigorously. If someone's an enthusiastic sportsman, he puts a lot of physical effort into it. So in this context, it's not exactly the same. Here, Prabhupada, I'm referring to this as
Krishna's energy. Is that what
Yeah.
it means?
Yeah, that's what it means. It means endeavors executed with intelligence
Yeah.
in Krishna consciousness. That's called utsāha. And that intelligence was referring to 9.4. Maya idam Maya tatamidam shavam jagat avyakta muttina matstani sarvabodhani najaham sarvastitaha. So Krishna is situated everywhere, and everything is actually his. Actually, everything belongs to him. So someone who's utsāha, who's enthusiastic and understands that, will use everything in Krishna's service. And then Prabhupada gives the example of the dictaphone, which was a great addition to Prabhupada's translation. It's a wonderful story of who tells that story. Brahmananda tells a wonderful story how he bought Prabhupada the dictaphone. You know, Prabhupada didn't ask for it. He just saw it in a shop and he brought it back to Prabhupada, and he asked, and it's quite complicated to use it. And he asked if Prabhupada might use it, and Prabhupada showed interest in it, and Prabhupada just started working it. He started using it straight away. Anyway, example, the dictaphone, and it transformed his it took his translating to another level. So Prabhupada was very eager to use everything in Krishna's service. So that's what it means in that sense, utsāha, that someone's understands that all material things can be used in Krishna's service. Not they can be, but they should be. Yeah. There's another word for this as well. It's called yukta vairagya, which means yukta means to link, so that yukta means to understand everything's connection with Krishna and then using it in his service. That's utsāha. Yeah. And we use everything in Krishna's service, isn't it? We don't just have dictaphones now. Now we have this laptop I have here, I have an iPad, we have devotees. Everything can be used in Krishna's service. It takes an infused mind, someone who's enthusiastic, and they're enthusiastic because they perceive Krishna's presence. Everything should be used for him. Yeah. Any other questions about enthusiasm? It plays that part as well, although I said it's not always a physical endeavor, it's more an intelligent endeavor. Also, it can also be a physical side as well, where you kirtan, you're enthusiastic, according to your capacity, you may move a bit, may dance, take part. Of course, some of us are a bit older, so we probably can't take part like the younger brahmacharis may do, unfortunately. What do you do? Yeah, I just asked a question for, have you and anyone ever not felt enthusiastic sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes you do.
Yeah,
mean,
it happens.
You want to do it, but you're not as enthusiastic as you was at the time before, or something like that. Oh, nice kids, and I'm
Yeah.
going to just listen or something. Another time you would just get up and dance,
Yeah, I was kind of referring more to, I mean, that's right. I was referring more to, we begin to lose our enthusiasm is when we expose ourselves, or we start to, get into Maya, as I say. When we start getting into the material energy, then we will start to, when we start to absorb material values and concepts, or overly associate with materialistic persons, or neglect associating with devotees, or maybe say we don't chant our rounds, and then we can feel our enthusiasm for reading Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. Then it wanes, and we start becoming more enthusiastic for material things. Someone's going to had a question now. I think I heard someone.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about enthusiasm. We have to be enthusiastic about all aspects of devotional service.
Yeah. So, like for instance, when you're at home, and I don't know if people do. Do people still have televisions at home? Do they still exist?
I have.
Yeah, I thought it was all
I don't know
computers
what
now.
to do with it.
I
but
have.
Yeah,
I have.
yeah, okay.
Well,
So-
we connect it with the YouTube or something so we can see the
Yeah,
picture
yeah.
on the big,
that's it.
bigger
yeah,
picture.
bigger picture.
Yeah, so again, the test today, or the relevant test today, is what do people do when they go on YouTube? You know, where do they
Listen to
go?
the lectures.
Yeah, I mean that's what we should be doing. I'm saying, but sometimes you may be tempted. I know some devotees, they get tempted to watch mundane films, you know. Then their enthusiasm for Krishna consciousness will wane. Or one's contemplating the objects of the senses, then one's enthusiasm for Krishna will actually begin to wane. Yeah? Sometimes one may contemplate, oh, I was so enthusiastic for Krishna consciousness many years ago. Now I'm not so enthusiastic, you know, because they've compromised their principles to one degree or another. So the more we can plug ourselves into what Prabhupada said here, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, then the more we can always maintain our enthusiasm and become more enthusiastic.
And Murli Prabhu as well, association, I think, as well.
Yeah, like hopefully these classes and readings we're doing, it causes us to be enthusiastic and refreshed about our Krishna consciousness. I know it does me. I mean, that's why I like to do them, and because I know if I speak Krishna Katha and we share Krishna Katha together and we read together, it's going to lift my spirits, you know.
Yeah,
Because
I'm sure everybody has felt in the last year and a half we've gone somewhere to what we were
Yeah.
what we were before.
because we got competition, and it's big competition. It's called the three modes of material nature. So it's a big competition for our attention, you know. It's the three modes are competing for our attention. Yeah, that's why it has to be a daily nasta preshu patreshu, yeah, daily thing. That's why Prabhupada often. How does Prabhupada? Anyone can relate? Can remember how Prabhupada he speaks how he was enthusiastic. Anyone can remember that Prabhupada speaks.
Once he was when he started giving class in the Bowery, and the first time he started, there was no one, and he was preaching to the wall because he didn't let his enthusiasm dampen at all.
Yeah,
And that class is the preface in the Bhagavad Gita, the introduction class in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, Prabhupada. Yeah, very good point, Prabhupada. Sometimes there'd be I don't know, but there'd be 6 people in the hearing him. 1 would be sleeping, and 5 would be on acid. 5 would be tripping out on acid, or 2 of them would be lounged out with their legs out. But Prabhupada was was enthusiastic to preach. Yeah, and that's what he speaks about. That there's someone asked him a question, and Prabhupada, I forget the exact question, but Prabhupada replied back, "How do you think I came to the West here? Because I was enthusiastic. How do you think we are sitting here now? Because I was enthusiastic to follow the teachings or to follow the orders of my spiritual master." Yeah, because Prabhupada is the personification of enthusiasm. So he was, even when he had nothing, he didn't have anything. He was just an old man sitting on a park bench. You know that story? And one man sat next to him and asked him who he is and what he's doing. And Prabhupada very enthusiastically told him about the worldwide society of Krishna consciousness that's going to manifest. Prabhupada had nothing at that time. But he was very enthusiastic. So yeah, it plays a big part. So obviously, Rupa Goswami is putting it here as number one. So if we want to be successful in pure devotional service, we have to be enthusiastic about it. Yeah, we have to be enthusiastic. And sometimes there may be challenges there, it may be, but we should always try and we should kind of judge, are we feeling enthusiastic or not, and if we're not, we should start to kind of do a, what's the word, as a word where we look at what we're doing and see how we can hear and chant more.
Introspective, Prabhu?
Sorry?
It's better to be introspective.
Yeah, introspective is one word. Yeah, it's not his word.
Evaluate.
Yeah, evaluate. Yeah, that's it. We can evaluate because we can't afford not to be enthusiastic. Because we won't be able to maintain our Krishna consciousness, you know. Because you have to be enthusiastic about something. It's either the three modes of material nature, or it's Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So, utsāha.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I'm always talking. Right. Say you got your mind set on doing some service, or you going to chant or something like that, and another devotee comes up and they want to talk because there's some issues or something. How do you make the right decision? This is my cooking time or my chanting time. Can I talk later? Can I? How do you be firm like that? You make the right choices without being kind of rude.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Perhaps I'll offer that out as a question to our learned senior devotees. Anyone could give Mother Chandravali some advice or some experience or comment on that.
I was thinking, like, if somebody's got a problem and it's an inappropriate time to give your full attention to it, then it's better to schedule a time with the person to discuss it
Yeah,
properly.
yeah, you can do that. It's quite basic, really. Yeah, you can do it politely and nicely, and you can, I really understand this is important for you, and you really want to speak to me, but at the moment I can't give you my full attention. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Better we speak later. Perhaps it's best to do that just to be upfront, rather than kind of just ignore them, turn your back
Yeah.
and just say, sorry, I haven't got time. Say, look, I can understand you have something important. You want to speak to me? Can we make some time after? I'm a bit busy now, If you haven't got time and it is not convenient for you. Yeah.
Or what if you don't really want to get involved? Then how do you politely not get involved?
Somebody who can deal with it. I mean, and pass it on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pass it on to someone appropriate.
Mm.
Yeah, well, it depends on your situation. If depends where it might be your duty to get involved. It might be like that. So, for instance, some issues come to me, and I don't want to get involved, but it's my duty to get involved.
How do you know it's your duty, or how can you work out it's your duty? You kind of it's there.
That's the
No.
question that Arjuna asked, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is my duty? Because it can be not clear sometimes. What is your specific duty? Sometimes it can be unclear, as it was with Arjuna. He was weighing up different values and different options. So what was his duty became unclear. Yeah. So we can ask devotee, is it my duty to get involved in this? What do you think? If we're not sure. It's quite AA, say, you could say, I always bring it, it's a time, place, and circumstance, yeah. It's not like one answer will cover everything. You have to weigh up according to the time, the place, and circumstances. But I'm just trying to say that some things may come our way that we have a duty to get involved in. But we might not have to get involved in it right there and then. We can put it off to a more suitable time, you know. There, as much as you can say on that, you can meditate on that.
Meditate. Well, yes, yes. Best not to get involved with anything when you get to a certain age, but like you said, duty is duty. It's true. When you get to a certain age, you need to use all that energy in what
Yeah, you can,
the course of life is.
yeah, you can get involved in another way. You don't have to perhaps, like, for instance, those who are older, they're like, say, yourselves, maybe like Vanaprastha, then you've got, you've got life's wisdom behind you. So you can get involved more as from an advisory perspective, not like hands-on.
Mm.
Like if someone's coming to, like if a younger lady's coming to you and she may be saying, this is happening, that is happening, it's not your, your, it's not your call to get directly involved, but you can give advice as a senior Brahmani, someone who's a senior in the, you know, you've got lots of wisdom, you've got lots of experiences as a mother, so you can give your advice to the younger ladies. You don't have to get right involved and meet different people and speak to them, but you can give advice, from your experience. That's what that's the value of senior persons like many of you here. Vanaprastha, you've got a lifetime of experience, and many years in Krishna consciousness, so you can get involved from that perspective. You don't get right involved, you're not going to start siding with one party. You're just going to try and give a Krishna conscious perspective on what they might do or what they may say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why there's unfortunately we don't live in a society where most of us are not living in extended families. Some of us might be, but generally we're not. But therefore our community, in one sense, that's surrounded around the Radha Londoneshwar, is our family, and it's extended family, and there's many elders there. There's many senior devotees within our family, which centers around Radha Londoneshwar, So we should seek advice, seek advice from devotees who have been involved and do know some of the dynamics of our community, and the personalities involved. So it's nice to picture it like that, like a big family, quite a big family actually. So we can ask, and people, yeah, and be there as a shelter for like people who may come to you. That's also like being enthusiastic, we could say as well. You're enthusiastic about helping devotees, you're enthusiastic about Krishna consciousness, which means advising devotees according to your capacity, So best thing, in other words, is, we may have this mentality, I don't want to get involved in nothing, I just want to do my, no.
Yes, that's my mentality. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to know. You may at least give some advice, which I think you do anyway. You obviously do that anyway, but others as well, Yeah, that's what the Vanaprastha ashram is about. I mean, who was giving Devaki? Devaki wears white, not our Devaki.
Yeah, yeah.
Devaki, she does seminars on the
Radha's god sister.
yeah, Vanaprastha. Yeah, Vanaprastha ashram, and she always, this is the point she mentions. There's so much that our senior Vanaprasthas or senior members of our communities can actually give. So much they can give,
Prabhu, that's my point. We can give a lot. No, I'm not talking about myself, but I'm talking about senior Matajis. And yet they want to go and become a Diksha Guru. There's so much, the ladies can give so much.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why that
Yeah.
it's a mother figure. She's a nurturer. She's a homemaker.
Yeah, yeah.
So much we can impart. And that's the bit I don't understand.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up. There's so much advice that, for instance, you can give young married couples, you know. But without getting into the whole female dictionary issue thing, but that's the point that Mother Devaki makes. She actually makes that point that actually I remember she was addressing that question about women Diksha gurus, and she I don't know if I can imitate it. She said, "Me Diksha guru? Oh no,
Yes.
Diksha guru, no."
Yeah.
But as far as giving shiksha, yeah, giving so much shiksha, and that's a yeah.
But
Actually, I was just yeah. Go on, sorry.
I didn't mean to bring this aspect of being Diksha Guru. It's just a thought. There's so much the senior ladies can give, so much, Prabhu.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
I
that,
agree
that
with you, Vanna.
Srila Prabhupada was like a mother and a father figure. He taught everybody how even to brush your teeth because there wasn't a Guru Mata there. And so as a woman, they've got an enormous amount to give rather than this is all the can't be helped because it's a part of our DNA that the Western culture is infiltrating what is a pure Krishna conscious way.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, the ladies have a lot to offer.
Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day as something was coming up. I was just thinking how to actually like a woman's role to actually in the house she's holding everyone and everything together. You know, the relationship with the husband and the children and the way she interacts with the children, the way she interacts with the husband, and the way she digests what the children are saying and what they're not saying and what they're doing. And this, she's kind of the one able to kind of make the whole thing happen. Of course, sometimes there's difficulties in that regard, but generally that's the role.
It's challenging. There's no, especially with as we progress more to internet and things like that. Of course, it's difficult, but a woman still manages to hold on to that.
Yeah. So how did we get here? How do we get here?
Saying that women should not be spiritual masters. That's it. Finish.
Yeah, Diksha. But we get Shiksha. Everyone should give Shiksha.
Yeah, Shiksha is okay, but Diksha, no way. We're built differently, like
Yeah,
we just
why
said.
someone may say,
We'll be too emotional. Women will be too emotional. They cannot just back down.
have to, as we know, I mean, there will be is another GBC thing in it, but it's there. I mean, there isn't going to be many who are going to come forward for that. There may be some, but I think it's going to not be many. So it means, I mean, practically speaking, back to True Swami has gone back to be with Krishna. So that means you're eligible to be a Diksha Guru, Chandra.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Diksha Guru. Nitai Mata, yeah, let's kind of perhaps go in another direction before we get too controversial.
Okay, yes.
Anyway,
Yes,
this
please.
Diksha Guru, of course, it's 2,000,000% is in. We can have only just male bodies. That's confirmed from my heart. And
Okay.
I was thinking, Prabhu, about enthusiasm.
Yeah, please, yeah.
How much that is where we landed here, I think. How much enthusiasm you should have. Sometimes if your enthusiasm, you have to have the balance of enthusiasm. If the others are No, that's okay. That's okay. This is okay. That's okay. For everybody saying, oh, no, that's okay. Let it be like that. So, how Srila Prabhupada had all the enthusiasm because we are not Srila Prabhupada. He can see what is going to happen, so he can speak about it. But our enthusiasm, isn't it sometimes will be taken in a wrong way? Saying
Let me just repeat back the question. As far as I can understand, you're saying
overpowering.
you may be in a situation where um, though devotees or people are compromising
Yeah.
on some aspect of Krishna consciousness,
Hmm.
but you're being enthusiastic about it. And
Hmm.
sometimes it may get taken in the wrong way. I mean, do we have to temper our enthusiasm?
Yeah.
Is that the question, basically?
Yes. Yes, Prabhu. Okay.
Yeah. Um, we actually do. Again, time, place, and circumstance. So, for instance, one example may be you're very enthusiastic about Krishna consciousness,
Hmm.
and you're going, and all your family's going to stop eating meat today, right now. That may not be the best. You may have to temper things a bit, rather than try and convert. Or you may everyone in the family has to wake up by 5 a.m. you know, and they might. And I can see Sahajar is nodding her head like awesome. So that would be like enthusiasm without intelligence. That's why Prabhupada says, endeavor executing with intelligence. So say, the goal, you would like your family to become vegetarian. That's the goal. But so to be over enthusiastic, which sometimes can be a problem, it has caused problems. It may uh, alienate family members towards Krishna consciousness. So you have to be enthusiastic with intelligence. Yeah. So it may be okay. At least have a table dinner discussion. You know, I'm going to be. I have something to say, children. My dear husband and children. I'm going to become vegetarian. That may be, and then you may have that as a goal, and then over months, whatever, how long it may take, you start cooking these wonderful vegetarian dishes, which everyone, the husband starts looking at, and they always want to, and they want some as well. So that's just one little example. Yeah, sometimes.
Prabhu, I just wanted to ask you in between. Rather be saying to them, or any situation, even in a community of devotees, isn't it good to put that in practice and then see the results? Rather be saying and doing it. If you're enthusiastic, just just do it and then see whether it will be acceptable. Isn't it good way?
Can you give an example? If you could give me a specific example, or
Okay,
give us a specific example, because
you were mentioning about becoming a vegetarian. If
yeah,
I take that same example, rather without saying anything, you just cook. You just cook nice, 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 and you see their reaction.
yeah, that's another way you may tackle it.
Yeah,
Another
because
way.
so you are not convincing anybody. They themselves will come to you. You just show them these are a lot of alternatives like that.
Yeah. So that's according to your situation you're in. Then you may do that.
Okay,
But
okay,
it's a good example how we're speaking about how enthusiasm can come out in many, many ways.
hmm,
You know,
okay, hmm,
how to make the how can we make our children Krishna conscious?
yes,
How to be enthusiastic about that. Now,
hmm,
if you go about it without using intelligence,
hmm,
then you may make them the opposite. They may become more adverse
yeah,
to your Krishna consciousness. So that's why I highlighted this sentence here: executed with intelligence.
hmm,
Like Prabhupada, before he came to the West, he has studied the West.
hmm,
Anything about the Western society, he would read about. and he closely. It wasn't he just came here without any, with no pre-meditation, no pre-understanding, and just, he actually was enthusiastic with intelligence of how he would spread Krishna consciousness, or how he would present Krishna consciousness. Yeah. I mean, most people, a lot of, I mean, it's a bit different now, but I think in the 70s and 80s, perhaps in the early 90s, a lot of devotees who joined, they really made a bad impression, some of them, on their parents about what Krishna consciousness was about. I know I didn't do too well. I mean, I didn't see my family once I joined the temple. At one point, I had no contact for about a year. So that didn't go down too well with my mother and my father, But then I after a year, I began to kind of think things out a bit more, and I got in touch with them again, and it helped.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, maybe this
Yes.
is very personal, but how much ever you can elaborate? Why you didn't see them for 1 year, Prabhu?
Well, my mother and father were separated, so that's one thing. But because one time I had a conversation with my father, and he started to swear and blaspheme about what I was doing. He was enraged. And he became quite offensive, actually.
Yeah, that's very nice.
So I just kept the distance
Yeah, yeah.
for a year. So that's particular. I think my mother, actually, I think I'm exaggerating but my mother I kept in touch with, but not much. There was some contact there, but yeah.
But wasn't it generally at the temples, there was a mood that once you join the temple, your family is Maya? They used to have that kind of mood.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Oh, forget, they're not really your family. This is your family, or, you're a spirit soul. This is like two sticks coming together for a short time, and then it'll be just focus on Krishna.
Yeah.
And they used to, like, almost, if you went to see your parents, you were in Maya.
Yeah. That was.
Although Prabhupada encouraged devotees sometimes to see their parents or go to their parents, but I did find that that was a general mood amongst devotees, that,
Yeah.
seeing the family was very risky.
Yeah, that's